In this video, we're going to talk about one of those mysteries that has been widely discussed and where some pretty crazy theories have been cooked up. And as you've probably already guessed, based on the title, the mystery that I'm talking about is the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is an area between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. The area was officially named in 1964 by Vincent Gaddis when an American weekly magazine wrote an article about this dangerous and mysterious place. The area has been known as a death zone the past 100 years, but actually we need to go back even further to get our first tale about the Bermuda Triangle. Actually, we need to go all the way back to 1492 when Christopher Columbus first sailed to the Americas. On his first voyage to the New World, he reported that a great flame of fire crashed into the sea one night, and that crew members had seen a strange light appear in the distance a few weeks later. He also reported that his compass had erratic readings in this area. However, it isn't until the 1900s when more stories about the Bermuda Triangle were told. Let's take a look at one of the origin stories that gave the Bermuda Triangle its scary reputation. In December 1945, 5 American bombers carried out a military exercise, and the weather was reportedly fine. But suddenly, one of the pilots calls in on the radio and reports that he doesn't know where he is and his compasses are all out of whack. On base, they're in contact with the pilots multiple times and they all say that they don't know how to get back to land. And then, late in the evening when the jets are about to run out of gas and the weather is getting worse, the connection disappears. The 5 planes with 14 men on board are never found. So this is where the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle really starts to take root. And in the following years, at the end of the 1940s, during the 1950s and 60s, a lot more ships and planes disappear in the Bermuda Triangle. For example, in 1941, the ship USS Proteus disappeared with 58 people on board. And the following month, the USS Neuros with 61 people aboard goes missing. And in 2015, the US experienced the worst shipwreck in 30 years when the container ship El Faro sank with 33 crew members. However, the wreck was later found several kilometers below the surface. And these are just a few examples. Hundreds of planes and ships have gone missing in the Bermuda Triangle. During the years, many people have tried to come up with a cause and explanation for what happens in the Bermuda Triangle. So hold on tight because there are many different theories, some definitely more likely than others. The climate in this area is quite unique and it causes some crazy storms to seemingly appear out of the blue. Crazy hurricanes obliterate everything in their path, so it's impossible to find victims or wreckage. Rogue waves, freak waves, monster waves, killer waves, different name, same thing. We're talking gigantic waves that appear in the middle of the ocean out of nowhere. It's not a tsunami, it's a wave that suddenly rises like a vertical wall of water, much larger than the other waves, and has the ability to wreck a ship and crash a plane that's flying too low. A third popular theory is that the magnetic field in this area is very unusual. Reportedly, the magnetic field causes all electronics on ships and planes that ventures into this area to fail. This could definitely explain why the pilots from the missing planes reported that they didn't know where they were right before they lost the connection to the base. But attempts to explain what happens in the Bermuda Triangle don't stop here. And this one was inevitable. A fourth theory is that aliens are at play here. The theory is that at the bottom of the ocean in the Bermuda Triangle, there's a secret base occupied by aliens, and these guys are to blame for the missing planes and ships. What is used to support this theory is the strange light that Christopher Columbus' crew had seen in 1492 on their voyage to America. Some people believe that what they saw was a UFO and that it was a sign that aliens had settled in this area. A fifth theory is that Atlantis is at the bottom of the ocean in the Bermuda Triangle, and that the city's technology is so advanced that it causes ships and planes to vanish into thin air. Also, interdimensional wormholes and demons have also been accused of being a part of this mystery. Many of these theories are kind of wild, and you're probably not going to be surprised when I tell you that The Bermuda Triangle isn't so mysterious after all. When we look at each disappearance, most people agree that these were caused by human and mechanical errors, bad weather conditions, and ships and planes that shouldn't even have been on the water or in the air in the first place because of their poor condition. Let's take a closer look at these 5 bombers that went missing. When the 5 pilots left, the weather wasn't fine, which was what had been reported. It was actually pretty windy and the sea was very rough. The pilots that flew were very inexperienced except for Flight Commander Charles Taylor, but he was hungover after a night of drinking. He had also left without his watch and he was very well known for getting lost on flights. It later turned out that he actually thought the bombers were in a completely different location than they actually were. And when one of the junior pilots suggested that they fly west to reach the coast, Taylor wanted to fly east and thereby getting them further away from land, which would make the bombers much more difficult to locate. So that explains the 5 bombers, but what about the USS Proteus and USS Neuros? It was later discovered that both of these ships were loaded above their capacities. And in addition to that, they were both loaded with corrosive minerals that had already started to damage the bodies of the ships. So when they were hit by a storm, they were doomed from the beginning. About the tragedy in 2015 and the ship El Faro, it was discovered that ship was in poor condition and old. So when it was hit by the hurricane Joaquin, it didn't stand a chance. The captain also made a mistake because he kept sailing forward even though he had been warned that a powerful hurricane was headed their way. And the crew members had already told the captain that the ship was a rust bucket that shouldn't even have been on the water in the first place. But what about the freak waves and superstorms and weird magnetic field? The Bermuda Triangle is close to the Gulf Stream, which is definitely involved in the crazy weather, because crazy hurricanes are carried from the Gulf to the Bermuda Triangle. And these hurricanes are probably to blame for some of the disappearances. It is also very likely that freak waves are at play here, because all the elements that are needed to create these rogue waves are present in this area, like storms and strong ocean currents. So it's a real possibility that both ships and airplanes have fallen victim to these monster waves. The magnetic field in the Bermuda Triangle isn't anything special. It's actually pretty similar to many other locations around the world. It's true that there's a slight deviation because a compass in this area would connect to the magnetic North Pole, which is in Canada, and not the actual North Pole. But it's only a deviation of 10 degrees. The deviation is much larger in other locations around the world, so 10 degrees is nothing. And then there's aliens, interdimensional wormholes, and demons. And, well, let's just skip that. And by the way, people have looked into just how many planes and ships go missing in the Bermuda Triangle compared to other places around the world. And surprise, surprise, the Bermuda Triangle isn't special here either. There aren't more missing planes and ships in this area compared to other waters. It's completely ordinary. And even though it's a busy area where a lot of planes and ships pass through all the time, a report from 2013 shows that it isn't even in the top 10 of most dangerous waters around the world. So that's pretty disappointing. Am I right? That was all for today. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, then please like it and subscribe if you aren't already. Now I would like to hear from you. Which of these theories did you like the most? And are you also secretly hoping that the Bermuda Triangle is just a little bit mysterious? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.